This is a Sunday morning just like any other. The never-changing forests and mountains on the outskirts of Beijing with a bit of mist, creating a silent atmosphere that is not to be disturbed on some regular occasions. But I'm here today to try out something not so quiet.
So here it is, the all-new Audi RS7. Underneath the hood, we've got a 4-liter twin-turbocharged V8 that outputs as much as 600 horsepower and 590 pound-feet of torque. This thing goes from 0 to 60 in just 3.5 seconds. Now that is blazing fast. Frankly, this is my first time trying out an RS car. I've driven the AMGs and M-powered cars on several occasions, so I do have an expectation for this car. Now, I can safely say, so far, this car, it is satisfying. Now, I know there are many out there who are big fans of the R6 Avant, the AMG E63 wagon, and just performance wagons in general. But won't you look at this, and you tell me, isn't this a gorgeous machine? The regular Audi A7 has a head-turning design to begin with, but the RS variant takes it to the next level. The Sportback design grants the RS7 a naturally athletic stance, and the body lines, they flow through the car, over the bonnet, and creates contours that really bring out that powerful look. And you know what's even more amazing is that the lines, they don't end here. In fact, they end all the way back here and rejoin together in the taillight. And all these shapes and lines with that 22-inch rims and the RS spooked fenders really makes that seamless look on this car. And I truly think that the Audi RS7 is a beautiful vehicle. And oh, let's not forget the lights on this car. In China, Audi is widely known as the light factory. Well, of course, the lights are probably made in China, but the true reason is they're just so cool. When you turn on the car, taking turn signals and, shut the car down, the lights do a little dance and look extremely interesting. And to be honest with you, I think Audi currently makes the best looking lights on an automobile. If you are familiar with the trends in car interiors, you wouldn't be unfamiliar with Audi's. Audi's interior has done a great job in combining the tech and toys. This virtual cockpit with 3 large displays, all of which are capable of high-resolution images and fluent animations. And when you touch the screen, you feel an obvious vibration at your fingertip, and that is important, especially in a car like this. From a visual point of view, in the RS7, there is a lot of piano black. They do look pretty cool and pretty techy, but remember not to touch them too much because they are great at attracting fingerprints and statics and scratches. Up here you have this carbon fiber or naked carbon fiber panels on the door as well that feels really interesting. And on the seats you do have the red line stitching and the hexagon pattern as well as the RS logo up here. Look very sporty in general, but the overall supports do lack that bit of tightness, but in exchange it feels a lot more comfortable and not as punishing. Some other details in this car, for example, the aluminum finishes here and there, and the seatbelt buckle is lit up with Alcantara covering, and even the start-stop button has the red ring around it. But there is an exception. You see, behind the steering wheel, the windshield wiper stock and the turn signal stock and the cruise control stock use this cheap, scratchy plastic that kind of downgrade the feeling just a bit. But overall, when you put the hand on the steering wheel, oh, I bet you will love this Alcantara touch to it. Very sporty. And behind them are 2 aluminum pedals. Yes, aluminum pedals. When you take this machine on a blood-boiling drive, would you rather feel some icy cold aluminum or some lifeless plastic? Speaking of blood-boiling driving experience, the most exciting feature of the all-new RS7 has got to be the powertrain. Now, we're in dynamics, and this 4-liter twin-turbocharged V8 is simply extraordinary. The power delivery is extremely direct. It feels like there is no gap between your foot, the gas pedal, and the engine. You see, the engine reacts to subtle movements of your foot, like this. And it is fast, extremely fast. In fact, this engine and the powertrain, you can find it in the Porsche Panamera Turbo, the Bentley Bentayga, even the Lamborghini Urus. No wonder why, because this engine is simply brilliant. The differential and the quattro, those wide tires. Oh yes, they really do bring out that wonderful posture when you're going through corners. Now, I'm going to be a little picky right here. So the first thing being the transmission. It is an 8-speed and it is fast, gets the job done, and extremely smooth. However, I think in sporty driving, it can be a little more crispy. A good comparison would be the Porsche PDK. That is a good transmission for a sporty car. Then is the steering feedback. As we said, that the handling of this car is extraordinarily good. The car doesn't feel big or sluggy. The steering wheel, you see, it sort of lacks that bit of weight. I think it can be a little more engaging. And lastly, is this V8. Now, this V8 is the exciting part of this car. It's the highlight of the RS7. And on the outside, there's no mistake that it sounds like a V8. It's got the craziness and the rumble. But then on the inside, I do think we can have more of that V8. Of course, if you truly push this car to a higher limit, then yes, this car does bring you the crazy feeling of a V8 and the entire sensation is totally different. However, at that point, on the regular road, you would have already lost your license. Now, if we think back to where this car came from, who made this car? The Germans. And what do the Germans have? An Autobahn, right? Well, set all these aside, when you push on the gas pedal, all these imperfections suddenly becomes a lot more tolerable. On the steering wheel, there is an RS mode button, and many would think that this can unleash the ultimate performance mode for the RS7. Well, it's quite a different story. This button is customizable, and right now we have RS1 set to the most comfortable setting on this car. With one click of a button, this car just changed. The V8, it becomes a little lamb, and it's extremely docile. Half the cylinders were shut down, and the entire car, the suspension, the chassis, it just feels a lot more comfortable, just like a regular A7. Now, after being calm and comfy for a while, we had RS2 set to the most sporty feeling, and click the button. This entire car, you hear that? The entire car stiffens up and tightens up. It's now a completely different car. And so, in conclusion, the Audi RS7 really has that versatile driving experience, and that is simply magical.
The original Audi RS7 from 10 years ago was a good car, but the new RS7 is more than just good. It is important because it makes the entire RS lineup complete, and it is clearly aiming at those with a unique taste, those who love beauty, those who are bursting with adrenaline, and those who do not compromise.